Check. Or forming addictions to blot out the pain or numb our senses and so protect ourselves. Waves. Or working all the time, busying ourselves with the hamster wheel of life and distracting ourselves from uncomfortable feelings by scrolling through social media, just for example. Is it hot in here? If we aim to avoid sadness, even a little, we limit our existence and put ourselves at greater risk of normal sadness tipping over into something more serious. Suppressing negative or depressive thoughts to the extent that many of us probably do on a daily basis has been proven to backfire spectacularly, resulting in depressive symptoms, according to studies. The Harvard University psychologist Daniel Wegner famously led a thought experiment in 1987, where subjects were told not to think about white bears, inspired by the Russian writer Dostoevsky, who once wrote, "Try to pose for yourself this task, not to think of a polar bear, and you will see that the cursed thing will come to mind every minute." So Wegner decided to put this idea to the test. For 5 minutes, participants were asked not to think about a white bear, but to ring a bell each time a white bear crossed their minds. Participants in a second group were allowed to think of anything they wanted, but continued to ring a bell each time the thought of a white bear surfaced. The second expression group rang the bell far less frequently than the first group, who'd been suppressing their thoughts. A second experiment replicated these findings, and Wegner later collaborated with the psychologist Richard Wenslaff to test the theory further, confirming that trying not to think or feel something sad makes us more prone to anxiety, depressive thoughts, and symptoms. It may sound counterintuitive, but Wegner and Wenslaff concluded that fighting sad actually makes the sad worse. This was certainly my experience. I know sad just as intimately as I know happiness, and this book isn't purely professional for me. My first ever memory is the day that my sister died of sudden infant death syndrome, or SIDS. My parents split up soon after. I've had a sketchy relationship with my body and with food. I've had career setbacks, as well as relationships that have imploded in agonizing ways. Infertility, IVF, and bed rest weren't exactly a hoot either. Even the things that have brought the greatest joy have also brought challenges. Challenges that have been harder to process than they might have been, because we don't tend to talk about sadness enough in our culture. Many of us will have been raised with the assumption that what we don't talk about can't hurt us, and for a long time, not talking about being sad was seen as a sign of strength. But really, the opposite is true. And learning how to be sad, better, is something we need right now, more than ever. At the time of writing, the world is on fire, in the grip of a global pandemic. Since the onset of the coronavirus, much of what we relied on and took for granted has gone. The enforced slowness of lockdown stripped everything back so that our internal dialogue could be heard more loudly, with no respite or escape to the busyness of normal life. Some have been separated from loved ones. Some are alone. Some are afraid. Some have been trapped at home in a relationship with someone with whom, it is now apparent, a continued relationship depended on not being trapped at home together. No one is sure what the world will look like after, or how we'll recover, economically or emotionally, with staggeringly high unemployment and a recession looming. Many of us will experience losses, and all of us will have felt something change. And because we're more globally connected, at least digitally today, we're more aware of what's going on around us. The attacks on trans rights and the Black Lives Matter movement remind us that there is plenty to be sad about. COVID-19 has disproportionately impacted Black communities, both in terms of infection rates and higher mortality. Black people are 4 times more likely to die from COVID-19 than white people, according to figures from the UK's Office for National Statistics. And UCL's COVID-19 social study found that levels of depression and anxiety were higher among those from BAME backgrounds, their term, not mine, during lockdown. We're experiencing record levels of sadness, worry, and anger globally, according to the latest annual Gallup survey. It's now estimated by the World Health Organization that 264 million people globally are affected by depression. Of course, sadness isn't the same as depression. I should know, spoiler alert, I've done both. WHO defines depression as persistent sadness and a lack of interest or pleasure in previously rewarding or enjoyable activities. Depression often disturbs sleep and appetite, resulting in poor concentration.